All right, we are back here on our Olympic preview show here on the Just End the Suffering podcast. We're talking some golf today, and as we do with golf, we bring our golf guy with us again. Our golf industry professional works with the PGA Tour. Dan DeMartini is here. Dan, how are you?
Doing great. I believe this is episode 200, so I want to say at least congrats if is that the case?
That is the case. That is number 200.
Mike, when you started this thing a couple of years ago, this was just going to be a little thing for you, and it's amazing how you've been able to keep that up. And a big congrats to you for constantly putting out great content. So I'm just happy to be a very small percentage of it.
Yeah, well, you're a part of the success story here. So let's get to the golf here. I'm excited to talk Olympic golf because this is a new thing relatively. I mean, it came back in 2016 and been the Olympics prior. That's about the 1920s. So how interesting is it for you to see the Olympic golf coming to Japan this time?
It's going to be really interesting. I was actually I was in Japan right before the pandemic started. So I got to really experience the culture, and they love golf. The Japanese are very, very proud. We all saw it with Hideki Matsuyama winning the Masters. It was a huge, huge moment for the country. The only thing that's really difficult right now is something we can get into a little bit is obviously they declared another state of emergency. So COVID has made a second comeback, and it's going to be really difficult to keep the bubble. And we're in a position right now where it's going to be weird to watch a lot of Olympic sports without any spectators. So it's going to make it a little difficult, but at least we're still getting really competitive golf. And it's always fun when you get, the team aspect of golf is what people love. People love seeing the Ryder Cup. They love seeing the President's Cup. There are a lot of, even the Zurich when they get to play as teams. So anytime you get that kind of camaraderie and you get to represent your country and you get a little bit of golf mixed in, sign me up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the COVID angle. Obviously, we know that Japan declared a state of emergency because of the COVID situation over there. And in a way, I mean, we're not going to debate whether or not the Olympics should be held. That's about way above our pay grade. But in terms of what it is for the golfers, obviously now they have to deal with basically the COVID restrictions that they were dealing with at the start of 2020. The PGA Tour came back, so that's an interesting adjustment. Some of these guys have to go back to the more restrictive, mask wearing all the time, and you got to track where you're going. That's something that they've been used to as much recently compared to where it was last year.
Very much so, but and that's something that we can absolutely kind of look at, because I'm sure those of you who are out there, when you're watching the qualifications to get to make the Olympic team in golf, it's very interesting to me because several of the top qualified players actually won't be attending and participating in the event. It's still a fantastic field of 60 players, but there are several who looked at what's going on over there and their own personal decisions decided to withdraw from the event. World number two right now, Dustin Johnson, it will not be participating in the event, even though he qualified. Tyrell Hatton and a few others. There's going to be a lot of restrictions on where you go, what you do. It's a shame that even a year later, postponing the event, it's still going to be not what we would love to see, right? We would love to see a ton of fans, all the different nations represented, not even on the course, but also in the spectator galleries, and a really exciting finish. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get that again this year. But the quality of the participants is still absolutely there. But obviously, it's just a little bit unfortunate that this has all come back, and there's going to be a lot of exactly what you meant, which is keeping to the bubble, come in, focus on the golf, great competition, and then get back, keep everybody safe on the way out.
Yeah, and you mentioned the qualification. I think I want to point out here this thing, because obviously this is not as simple as your usual PGA Tour, like, hey, top 100 get in or whatever. It's you can only have 4 from one country be there. So obviously a lot of American golfers did not make the cut. You only have 4 in there. So it's a different looking field than you usually get.
So it's a little complicated. So it's the top 60 in the official world golf rankings. So that's very different from those that just watch the PGA Tour, where we deal mostly with FedEx Cup points. That's kind of what you constantly hear is FedEx Cup. So the official golf world rankings are a combination of PGA Tour events, but also several other qualifying events, co-sanctioned events around the world on other tours. So to get to that number, you're obviously in a position where I believe the qualifications were, if you are in the top 15 in the official world golf rankings, okay, country permitting, you can only have 4 as a max. If you look at the top 15 official, in the world golf rankings, believe it or not, the United States has 10 players in the top 15. So somebody like a Patrick Cantlay or a Webb Simpson or even Harris English right now, who's surged way up with playing amazing the last couple months on the PGA Tour, they will not be able to play in the event because obviously you've got Colin Morikawa, Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, and Xander Schauffele, who are all 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, it's amazing that, the U.S. just right now has an incredible number of top players. And that's a cumulative effect of points gathered from around the world. And so the U.S. will be represented with 4 players in the 60 field. There's, I believe they're the only ones with 4. If you look at just kind of how it all broke down with various countries coming out, but I'm pretty sure that the U.S. has the major advantage having 4 players, which is when we get to picks, I won't feel too bad about having a majority come from the U.S. So, but there are some amazing other players in the field, big names that you'll recognize, and also some young guys who have played really well on the PGA Tour recently too. So, you're going to get your classic. You're going to get Francisco Molinari is going to represent Italy. You're going to have Mark Leishman and Cameron Smith representing Australia. I believe you're going to have Tommy Fleetwood and Paul Casey representing Great Britain. Rory McIlroy will be there. John Rahm will be there, I believe. Sergio Garcia was one of the names that pulled out. But you're still talking between Bryson, Rory, John Rahm. You're talking about guys that these are mega stars. So if you're looking for a fun event to watch, definitely continue to look into this. Justin Thomas, it's going to be a lot of fun. This is a super competitive field. Some of the deeper cut players, for those that have been watching, Garrett Higgo is going to be in the event. He's been playing phenomenal as a there's really quite the field, and once again, it's a team event. You're representing your country, so guys are going to take a lot of pride in that, and it's going to be super competitive.
Yeah, it's funny. Let's look at the field right now. I was looking at it because I'm looking to see. I don't see any of the medalists in the last Olympics, which was, I believe, I have it up here right now. It was Justin Rose won the gold, Henrik Stenson won the silver, and Matt Kuchar won the bronze. So, you got 3 medals guaranteed.
Yeah, it's going to be fun because unfortunately for those guys, that none of them did qualify this time around. And that means that everybody's going to be coming out looking for an opportunity. And, we know very little about the course. We know very little about, in terms of just these guys that will be in it. I think that if several of them were in the past Olympics, but we also have a bunch of young guns and a bunch of new people that are getting opportunities right now, and they're all playing phenomenal golf. So picking your gold, silver, and bronze is going to be really tough. Just so everybody knows, it's basically, it's going to be your cumulative score, individual score, stroke play score over 4 rounds. So, basically, you're going to have to come out, even though you're playing as a team, you're still playing as an individual. So, there is that aspect. When I said team aspect to it, you're representing your country. So obviously it would be amazing if, all 4 Americans went out and, finished 1 through 4, but, likely there's going to be some stiff competition from around the world.
You mentioned the course, and obviously we're not paying much attention to Japanese country clubs around here. So what do you know about this course that they're playing at?
Well, and that's the thing. I believe it's called Kasumi Gaseki Country Club. We know that the course back in 2016 was renovated by Tom Fazio, which a lot of people in the U.S. know a Tom Fazio course. I mean, he's world renowned for his designs and abilities to renovate courses. I know that this country club, when we talk about golf in Japan, the Zozo Championship is a PGA Tour event that's happened over there, for the last couple of years now. And the course style setup is usually because of the weather that they incur and the design of the courses. They're usually designed with multiple greens. So if one green took a lot of damage, each hole would have an alternative green setup. When Fazio went over to set up for the 2020 Olympics, from what I've read and understand, talking to the folks in my department that are going over there as well to help Team USA, they redesigned it in a way where it really will be singularly focused. It's designed for a one green traditional setup. We're hearing that there was a considerable amount of rain, so the greens will potentially play a little slower, which means lower scores, more birdies, more exciting finishes. The course was elongated. So basically this course was, I think it's well over 7,000 yards now from the pro tees. So I heard that there's a really, really long par 4. I think it's number 9, not 8 or number 9. So something really challenging right before the turn. And then there is a very, very approachable, low scoring number 17. They say if you're going to watch 2 holes, number 9 and 17 will be the ones to kind of hone in on. So that's what we know about the course so far. But once again, we've never seen this course, or at least in our lifetime. I believe it was played several decades ago. So in the Olympics before golf was removed from the Olympics. And but now we're excited to have it back. So this should be really cool. The viewing time frames, I'm still trying to wrap my head around, when we're going to be able to see the actual golf live versus taped or the results come in. That's just natural anytime we have an event overseas. But, obviously we'll be rooting on all of our players that are representing their countries. So.
Yeah, as far as the viewing times, I tell everybody on the podcast, everybody likes to just go to NBCSports.com. They have a whole viewing schedule up there. You'll have a better idea of what's on when. It's going to be very confusing with the time shift, especially if you're in the Eastern time zone. Because I know we'll try and keep track of that basketball schedule because the USA basketball is going to be played at such odd times for us, where you're sitting here midnight start time, okay, or 8 in the morning, okay. Just you just have to get used to things like that.
It could be 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. is going to be when the game is on, right? Yep. So I believe it's a 9-hour time difference. Could be up, I don't know, maybe 9, 10, 11. It's a lot. So I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I'll definitely be checking out NBCSports.com.
Yeah, for sure. And some of the big names here will be fun. Obviously, there's some big star power here. Obviously, Jon Rahm coming off of his win at the U.S. Open. Now I think, be one of the big favorites here. I think the big storyline here, though, for the fans in Japan, even though they're not going to go, is Hideki Matsuyama, who obviously, recording before the Open Championship, he had to skip that. He's a positive COVID test, and the rules going to the UK are stricter than the PGA Tour's rules. So, what kind of pressure think he's under here to try and medal in the Olympics in his home country?
Absolutely. This would be to top off. And now he doesn't have as much pressure. Winning the Masters was obviously a huge thing for him. But once again, here's another opportunity where he's wearing his flag and he takes a lot of pride in being the top Japanese golfer. And I think that currently he's sitting 18th in the official world golf rankings, and he's right up there. If I wasn't going to be biased towards the USA team, just because I'm a bit of a homer on that front, I would absolutely say that Hideki is probably one of the stiffest competitions for them in terms of medaling. He's going to come out, and I really don't see a scenario where he doesn't come out completely prepared and on his game and really focused.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's also going to be interesting to see some of these bigger names here. Obviously, Jon Rahm, and no offense to Dustin Johnson, they didn't get to go, but getting Bryce in the Olympics because they boon for the Olympics because he's going to be a lot of fun on that course.
Absolutely. I think that Bryson is definitely the wild card here, right? He always is. Xander Schauffele's game is obviously super consistent. Colin Morikawa, fantastic iron play and putting, and Justin Thomas, consistency. Cool under pressure, can go low when no one expects him to. If he's even slightly in contention on Saturday, by Sunday he's going to be absolutely he can run away. He can be the low scorer in the last round, and that's what you're looking for in a pick. But Bryson is the guy. If he comes out and he has a good first and second round, Ooh, it's going to be hard to, especially since he loves that, or at least my interpretation of him is that he would love nothing more than come back to bring a gold medal with everything that's gone on this year for him and the success that he's had on and off the course, but to wear a gold medal and bring that back. And with his social following and everything that he's got going on, like, can't you just see that, it's almost like Captain America, right? And it would be a very cool thing for him, and for the golfing world, especially those that have eyes really fixated on Bryson lately.
Yeah, I get to picture him like starting a feud with Kepka again on Twitter, just flashing the medal in his face every time he goes to the event. I get to see that, him having fun with that.
You said that, not me. I think that he will definitely enjoy it if he's able to get a medal for sure. You're right.
Speaking of the medals here, like, give me some picks here. Who are some guys they could medal? Like, picking the order is obviously ridiculously hard because these are 60 degrees golfers in the world. So, like, give me some guys you think could land on the podium.
Yeah, so just kind of looking through the list here, guys that just kind of jump off the page for me. I it's hard for me not to pick one of the Australians because every time that there's an international, especially a guy like Cam Smith, he gets so up for these events. I don't know if those of you remember the President's Cup from a couple years ago. He was the one that gave Justin Thomas and Tiger he pushed them to the absolute brink. And he is a fiery character. He's almost like it's like a younger Ian Poulterish type and he's got a great mustache and a great flow. Cam Smith is a guy I have my eye on as being, if he gets off to a good start as well, I could see him going bronze, silver. Obviously John Rahm, he's playing just phenomenal golf. It would be hard for me not to say that he will be in the mix, especially with the way that this course could potentially be set up, which is if his driver is even remotely near the fairway and he's putting and the greens are slow, he's a guy who makes birdies. Oh my God, he can just go off. Rory, once again, no idea on what kind of game Rory's going to bring out there. What can I say about Rory McIlroy that hasn't been said a million times by other people? If he's in the field, if he's healthy, he's always got a chance to win. I guess probably some of the other just kind of deeper cuts. I look at a guy like Joaquin Niemann. I like a guy potentially, I said this earlier, Garrick Higo is playing amazing right now. He's a super, super young guy and it's just really, really impressive. I just like his game. I could see maybe somebody like it gets tough after those first few that I've named here. I have to continue to say that I think the Americans are going to do extremely well. I think that Justin Thomas and Bryson both, and nothing against Morikawa or Schauffele. I just see them on this elite world stage wanting to rise to the occasion, at that next level. So, but why not? Why couldn't Xander win the gold? He could easily Colin Morikawa easily win the gold. They've all, they're all have won multiple PGA Tour events, major championships. We all know their track record. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's really hard to pick.
Yeah, I think if I was to pick, keep in mind, I don't watch it and near as golf as you do. I feel like Matsuyama, I like him a chance to make the podium because I feel like he's at least played the course before, unlike most of these guys. So I feel like that's got to give him a leg up there. I'm going to say also Rahm. I feel like you get somebody off, like kind of, I think off the board here a little bit. I'd say either like somebody who we didn't mention a lot, like I feel like Victor Hovland gets no play. I feel like he's somebody who can do well here. Maybe Siwoo Kim again, probably somebody at least had passing familiarity at the course though.
Who's sneaky good is a guy, Mackenzie Hughes from Canada. He's a guy that has been on a lot of leaderboards and especially playing particularly well this season. And he's a guy that won't have a ton of pressure on him. He's coming in and once again, he's had a really good year. He's super, super sneaky. It would be hard for me not to go down and I kind of look at some of the deeper cuts as well here. And there's phenomenal players across the board. Even Jonathan Vegas has been playing well. You look at somebody like CT Pan is obviously a phenomenal player. My guy Guido Migliozzi is also representing Italy. So I mean, the list is fantastic. Everybody single. There's just going to be. It's going to have to come down to course style and who's going to feel the pressure and the weight of representing their country, and who's going to come out and just try to go low for 4 rounds. So the people that can handle that stage, it's not the course. It's not going to come down to this course is incredibly difficult. It sounds like it's set up to go low. It's going to come down to who wants to win that gold medal.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely fun to watch, Dan. Thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, you follow social media, you know some of the stuff you're up to.
Sure, but do you want to know who I've got? Gold, silver, bronze, or we're going to keep that deep cut?
Well, I think you gave the list of who you had as medal candidates for. So if you want to give the quick pick here, gold, silver, bronze, who you got?
I've got Justin Thomas as the gold. I got John Rahm as silver, and I've got Cam Smith with the bronze. So those are my three. You can follow me at Out of Town Fan Pod on Twitter, and I'll be definitely trying to track and post along with the different time frames and the practice and all of that stuff. So we'll see. This should be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a crazy next couple weeks.
It should be also some very long nights for you, and you have to keep track of what's going on across the pond.
It's definitely it's going to be a bit of a battle just to wake up and try to figure out, okay, what did I miss? What's going on? Who's doing what happened here? And I really hope that everything goes smoothly over there, and that every player that comes into the field gets in safely and out safely. So it's just a shame what's happening in the country, but the good news is it's still on, and we get to watch some amazing sports. It's been a long time, and I'm just craving the Olympics. I'm craving Olympics. I'm craving FIFA. I want it all. So, we'll see. But I hope everybody else that's watching and listening in on this gets a chance to see it too.
All right, Dan. Thanks all the time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.